Well, the amount of teens on social media has sparked concern among health professionals. They say it could cause big changes in their brains. And the U.S. Surgeon General has said that even at the age of 13, it's still too early to be on social media. Joining me now is Dr. Bradley Zuckerman, child and adolescent psychiatrist at Stanford Children's Health. So thank you for joining us. Is there an appropriate age range for kids to actually start using social media?
So I agree with the Surgeon General's statement. I do have concerns about a 13-year-old having a social media account. There might be some 13-year-olds that are mature enough to maybe handle the responsibilities of it, but in most cases, I don't think that's the case. If you're a parent and you're trying to figure out the right age for your child to maybe have an account, I think there's quite a few questions you need to ask. Among those questions, you really need to think about do you think that your child might be resilient enough to handle negative online experiences like cyberbullying? Do they understand the importance of privacy and how to protect their information online? And are they happy to have established rules within the home about times when they can use it, what kind of content they can view? And as a parent, do you think that you're actually modeling good social media use habits yourself? And I tell you, I think in my experience, I think I'm far more comfortable with someone who's maybe 16 having a social media account than someone who's 13.
Yeah, and so how much social media really can impact brain development, and are there any dangers or concerns with that?
I think we're still trying to figure out the exact amount of time it takes to actually have potential harms from using social media. I'd say the more that you use it, the more risk there is that you could have potential harms. Um, the more that you use it, the more chance that there could be to have real functional impairments. I definitely see the link between social media use and problems with insomnia, sleep cycles, appetite, developing depression, developing eating disorders. And quite frankly, I think just the longer that you're online as a child, as a teenager, the greater chance there is uh, to have these potential impairments and problems.
So the big question is, so what can parents and children do to address this issue?
Well, I think it's important to try and set boundaries and rules at a really young age. The families that I work with, I think, have the most success when they might start actually putting together a family media use plan when maybe their child's 6 or 7, even 8 or 9. But I think if you try and make some changes and rules about social media use when you have an older adolescent teenager, it becomes a lot more challenging, and there's going to be a lot more conflict within the home. And I think parents need to understand the potential pitfalls of social media use. I wish there was more formal education, even within schools, about these potential harms. In the way that we might educate a child, teenager in schools about the danger of talking to strangers in person, or the danger of potentially using illicit substances. I think we need to do a better job of actually educating at home and within the schools about these potential harms.
And doctor, you talked about cyberbullying, and obviously all teens and all children are vulnerable to this, but I had a more specific question. What challenges do LGBTQ kids go through on social media?
Well, there's going to be even more potential harms with a selected population like that. LGBTQ teenagers, just in general, are going to face more potential issues with bullying and certainly cyberbullying. So I certainly have even more of a concern with that population.
All right, well, thank you very much. It's always good information. Dr. Bradley Zuckerman with Stanford Children's Health, thank you for joining us. And if you or someone you know is in crisis, get help from the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988. And to hear from young people about their struggles with mental health, we're bringing a powerful documentary to you exclusively. It streams on CBS News Bay Area tomorrow night at 7:30.